Scottish football is heating up and the drama's unreal. West Brom and Blackburn are battling for Kilmarnock's striker. UEFA are hammering Rangers hard before the Bilbao clash. Celtic are lining up a mega move for Lennon Miller. And now they've gone after a Bundesliga beast who knows Engels like the back of his hand. Those were just the headlines. Stick around for the full story and even more Scottish football updates. Right then, grab a cuppa and let's have a wee chinwag about the latest tug-of-war brewing across the border. And this time, it's all about young Bobby Wales. West Brom and Blackburn Rovers are apparently in a right old scramble to snap up Kilmarnock's teenage striker Bobby Wales. The lad's just 19, but already showing flashes of serious promise. 5 goals and 3 assists in 27 appearances this season. Not bad going for a forward, still getting the hang of the big stage, eh? Now, his contract at Rugby Park is up come summer, and championship clubs are circling like seagulls at a chip van. West Brom fancy him as a possible replacement if Tom Fellows legs it to Everton, and word is that David Moyes himself is nudging that one along. Meanwhile, Blackburn are in desperate need of someone who can, actually stick the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis. But here's where it gets even more interesting. West Brom, who've been counting their pennies tighter than a miser in a snowstorm, posted losses of £33.9 million for the last financial year. Ouch. So, naturally, they're sniffing out a deal where they can sign a youngin on the cheap and flip him later for a tidy profit. Classic move, that's sign now, sell high later. Doesn't always work, but when it does, it's the stuff of boardroom dreams. Blackburn aren't exactly rolling in it either, but they're seeing Wales as a long-term bet. Develop him, slot him into the first team, and hope he turns into the next big thing from north of the wall. It's all a bit of a gamble, really, but hey, football's nothing without a few punts on potential. As for Kilmarnock, they'll be gutted to lose a homegrown talent, especially for now if no one stumps up a fee. But that's the nature of the beast. Clubs develop, England harvest. If Bobby Wales was coming through the academy at Celtic or Rangers instead of Kilmarnock, would he already be going for £5 million plus? Are we undervaluing young talent just because they're not wearing the big 2 shirts? Let us know in the comments. Go on, stir the pot a bit. Oh dear, just when things were starting to look rosy on the pitch, Rangers find themselves back in hot water off it, and they're not alone in the Europa League naughty corner. So here's the story. Both Rangers and Athletic Bilbao are heading into their quarterfinal showdown, already on UEFA bad books. Not exactly the pre-match build-up you'd hope for, eh? Let's start at Ibrox. Rangers are bracing for what they've called significant sanctions from UEFA after a banner popped up during their tie with Fenerbahce that's been labeled as racist and or discriminatory. The banner carried what's been described as an anti-woke message, and that's landed them squarely in UEFA's crosshair. Add that to previous partial stadium closures for sectarian singing, and the club's ultras section is under more scrutiny than a dodgy VAR check. To be fair, Rangers haven't exactly tried to sugarcoat things. They called the situation deeply saddening and frankly embarrassing. And fans themselves have been criticizing the behavior of this so-called minority. Problem is, in UEFA's world, even a small minority can cause big consequences, especially when the cameras are rolling and the fines are flying. Now over in the Basque Country, things haven't exactly been a picnic either. Athletic Bilbao have copped a fine of €34,000. That's about £28,400 after chaos broke out ahead of their clash with AS Roma. 14 arrests, multiple injuries to police and security, plus 1 poor Italian fan caught in the crossfire. All of that before a ball was even kicked. UEFA responded swiftly, dishing out €30,000 for the use of flares and another $4,000 for blocking stairways where the Roma supporters were sitting. A health and safety nightmare, if there ever was one. So now we've got 2 clubs, both with big ambitions and passionate fan base, but both starting this next round with disciplinary baggage heavier than a Ryan Porteous tackle. You'd think they might have learned a thing or two from past run-ins with UEFA, but apparently not. Now here's the real question, and I want you, the viewer, to answer this one. If UEFA's punishing Rangers and Athletic before a ball's even kicked, should clubs be forced to play behind closed doors as a standard punishment for repeat offenses? Or is that unfair on the majority of well-behaved fans who just want to support their team in peace? Let's hear it in the comments. Go on, don't hold back. So, Lennon Miller, just 18, already running the show at Motherwell like a seasoned vet, and now apparently being eyed by none other than Celtic as a long-term heir to Callum McGregor's throne. Now that's not just a compliment, that's a full-blown coronation. According to Fir Park teammate Stephen O'Donnell, who, to be fair, has a front row seat every week, the young lad has everything you want in a modern midfielder. Physical, technical, tactically sharp. And most importantly, when he's not in the team, Motherwell look like a pub side chasing shadows. That's telling. O'Donnell went on to say that swapping McGregor for Miller would make sense when the captain eventually calls time. And while Colmack's not hanging up the boots just yet, he probably has another few years at the top. Celtic are clearly sniffing around early, hoping to tie up a deal before the rest of Europe realizes Scotland's next midfield gem is hiding in plain sight in Lanarkshire. Now, let's talk numbers. Motherwell reportedly slapped an £8 million price tag on Miller during the January window. That's a record figure for the Well, and they weren't bluffing. Celtic made a late move. Udinese were lurking too, but the club stood firm. With just 1 year left on his contract now, though, it's cash-in time this summer, and they know it. Enter Celtic again, possibly with a little more urgency this time. But they're not alone. There's interest from Italy, France, and England, and even whispers that Rangers could join the party if that dreamy. American takeover finally happens, and someone starts chucking around blank checks at Ibrox. Let's not forget, Celtic have gone down this road before. David Turnbull made a similar leap from Fir Park, showed flashes, but never quite lived up to the hype before heading off to Cardiff. That might make the Parkhead board pause before dropping another multi-million on a Motherwell midfielder. But Miller looks a different breed altogether. Younger, smarter on the ball, and by all accounts, with a higher ceiling. And just as Celtic fans are getting their heads around that move, in comes the other big update. Jota is back. £8 million spent to bring the Portuguese winger home. And although it's not been fireworks straight away, club legend Stilian Petrov reckons next season we'll see the best of him. It's hard not to believe that. Jota and Celtic have always felt like a natural fit, and Rodgers clearly trusts him to deliver on the big nights. Celtic could be cooking up a midfield and attacking combo that keeps them ticking for years to come. If Celtic do splash out £8 million for Lennon Miller and he flops like Turnbull, should clubs like Celtic stop buying from within the league entirely and focus only on foreign markets? Or do we still need to back Scottish talent, even if it comes with a risk? Go on, let's hear your take. All right, transfer watchers, while the football world's got its eyes on the title race and the cup semis, Celtic are already moving pieces behind the scenes like a game of tactical chess. And the latest move? A cheeky inquiry about a Kosovo international who might just be the midfield muscle Brendan Rodgers fancies. So word is that Celtic have made contact to sound out a deal for Elvis Rexhbecaj, currently doing the graft at FC Augsburg. Now, the lad's no stranger to Parkhead connection. He played over 2,000 minutes alongside Arne Engels in Germany. And some say he's cut from a similar cloth. Hardworking, physical, versatile. Basically, the sort of player you want beside you in a stormy night away at Pittodrie. The 27-year-old's contract runs until the summer of 2026, but talks over an extension have stalled, and clubs like Besiktas and Parma are sniffing around. Celtic, not ones to miss a good opportunity, have joined the queue, and they've got the added bonus of Engels' whispering sweet. Nothing's about life in Glasgow's East End. But here's the twist. Rexhbecaj has already gone on record saying he sees himself at Augsburg long-term. Now, whether that's just classic PR speak or a genuine plan, time will tell. Money talks, after all. And if Celtic stump up the right fee, rumored around £1.6 million, they might just tempt him into green and white. Elsewhere, there's a bit of a keeper crisis brewing. Kasper Schmeichel, who, let's be honest, looked like a solid bit of experience between the sticks, has been spotted in a sling, his left arm looking worse for wear. Not exactly what you want heading into the sharp end of the season, especially with Cameron Carter-Vickers' future in doubt and Christopher Ajer suddenly being name-dropped for a potential return from Brentford. On the bright side, Brendan's midfield might be absolutely stacked next season. Between Paulo Bernardo, Arne Engels, and potentially Elvis joining the building, You could build a midfield trio that could outpress most Europa League sides. That's if they all gel. Of course, we've seen Celtic buy names before who've ended up lost in the system quicker than a missing parcel. So, with all this movement, and with another treble on the line, here's the one for the comments section. If Celtic are going after players like Elvis Rexhbecaj to reinforce the midfield, should they still be spending big on Lennon Miller this summer? Or is one rising Scottish talent worth more than 2 seasoned pros from the Bundesliga? Go on, let's see where the fan base really stands. If you haven't seen Scottish football yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Go check it out now.